if someone feels that barter's in their future, the US 90% is truly a good way to go. A dime represents, $2 worth of silver, and for a can of beans or a bullet, if you prefer, you could spend $2 instead of maybe 2 ounces of silver, because that's all you had in your stack.
Buy your gold and silver online from SD Bullion. New customers get gold or silver at spot by visiting sdbullion.com/new. Hey, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Silver Dragons.
Got the whole crew here.
Good to see you.
What up? Harry, Richard, Adrian, and we got security back here. Good to see you again. Hey, silver's going up, huh?
This morning it is. Early this morning it was actually down, but something in the news must have turned it around. Maybe a weaker dollar.
Well, over the last week or so, it's gone up like $2.
Yeah.
It was $22 and change. Now we're sitting at 24 and change, so something's happening.
Yeah, it typically goes the opposite way of the dollar. So the dollar shows weakness, the metals will show strength.
Yeah, and I just did a video, actually my last one, talked about how the dollar's going up and silver's going up right now. So it's really weird. It's kind of strange. I don't even understand it.
Yeah, it's like trying to predict the weather. It's a little difficult.
Yeah. Well, I got to show the cases here. We got junk silver. And with silver price going up, looks like price is going up a little bit over here too, but still a really good deal.
Yeah, still under 20 times face.
Is this one of the lowest premium things in the shop?
It's probably right there with the silver rounds. It's like neck and neck.
Really?
Yeah.
Basically interchangeable. You could get junk silver or silver rounds.
Yes. For a while, the junk or the constitutional was quite a bit above silver rounds, but it's just about equalized now. Yeah. Certainly at 18 times face it did.
Yeah, let's check out the silver rounds over here. And I noticed you did have some gold as well. So we have got coins up top. You got Perth Mint, Royal Canadian Mint. We got South Africa. So we're at $27 for silver rounds. That's a pretty good deal, Adrian.
Yeah, I'd say so.
We got silver eagles for $1 more than the other government ounces. I mean, they were like $10 more, not that
Definitely.
far back.
Yeah, so it seems like for me personally, if I was a stacker, I'd see that, for a few more dollars or $1 more, I can get an eagle rather than a maple. For example.
Yeah, maybe it's time to get eagles.
Yeah, just seeing where eagles have been before.
Yeah,
that's what I would think too.
Yeah, so we got the eagles on the second row here, and then the rounds at the bottom. I like buying silver rounds because of the variety. You can get these old ones and get some pretty cool designs.
And bars right now are priced at the same price, 27 an ounce, as a round.
Interesting. So you get a bar or a round, same price.
Correct.
It's just a different shape.
Yeah.
We got some gold here, and we got your. You know what? We should show your card because everyone is always asking, how to contact you guys. You prefer phone calls, yeah?
That would be great.
So there's Harry's
to give,
info.
The personal touch. We were happy to talk to people.
Yeah, if people want to chat or whatever.
Yeah, questions they have, we're here for you.
That's awesome. Tell me about the gold. You got fractional. You got everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything today. We've got some gold ounces. We've got 4 maples. We've also got this $100 Australian commemorative, which is a lot bigger in diameter, but a very thin coin, and it too is 1 troy ounce.
Wow.
We've got a couple of half ounces. I've got an eagle and a Philharmonic in a half ounce. And then we've got several quarter ounces. Nice variety, Philharmonics. We've got Canadian polar bears, maple, Queen's Beasts, a couple of those, and which one was that? Another Queen's Beast. Yeah.
Too bad it's not the dragon.
Yeah, of course. And you have to change your name to Gold Dragons.
Yeah.
And then we've got some 10th ounces as well. Philharmonics, Eagles, and I got King George there on a Britannia.
Wow, look at that. So, okay, we've looked at pretty much all the bullion in the shop. What's the best deal right now? What should people be stacking? Maybe they're new, they're just getting into silver, gold. What would you recommend?
Well, I get that question from new people quite often, and I ask them first, why do you want to stack? And we've kind of addressed this in prior videos, but it bears repeating. If they feel that in the future there may be a need for barter, I will direct them first to the 90% or the junk silver, because the increments are so small, like a dime. Again, a dime represents, $2 worth of silver, and for a can of beans or a bullet, if you prefer, you could spend $2 instead of maybe 2 ounces of silver, because that's all you had in your stack.
Right.
And so if someone feels that barter's in their future, the US 90% is truly a good way to go. If people tell me they don't believe that's why they are interested, but rather just to hedge inflation, I think the rounds and the government ounces are a better way to go, because they're even numbers. We're talking about 1 troy ounce, and in some cases 2 troy ounces. Easy to do the arithmetic, easy to find out the value just by looking online to see what's gold spot or silver spot that day.
So if someone wanted price exposure to silver or gold, you would recommend going with the 1 ounce type stuff?
Just easier arithmetic.
Yeah.
But for barter purposes, rounds aren't bad if you feel like at, say, let's just call it $30 roughly in the future of trading material. That's not a bad increment, but if you really just need something worth $5 or $2, it's nice to have some dimes or quarters in your stack.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of these dimes. Every silver dime is about a 14th of a troy ounce. So if you have $1.40 in junk silver, that's an ounce right there. If you account for where it's not going to be exact, because some of these coins are more worn down than others. But I think people don't realize that junk silver is probably one of the best things to barter with, just because it's so recognizable. I mean, this doesn't look like a regular dime. These Mercury dimes don't, but the Roosevelts do. So what do you think, Harry? Is it better to go with the older ones that are a little bit more worn, or the newer ones which might get confused with regular dimes?
Like with every question you ask, there's a couple of different answers that are possible. And so let me give you the 2 I have for the dimes.
Okay.
One is, if you look at Roosevelt dimes, a lot of them are silver in this whole tray.
Yeah.
But the ones in our pocket, the clad, look exactly the same.
Exactly.
So a little harder to discern in a time of barter. Whereas a Mercury dime only came in silver. Right. So if someone were to hand you a Mercury dime, there's no need to wonder, is it silver or not, because it has to be. Now the downside, the second part of the answer is, Mercury dimes saw a lot more wear in circulation than the average Roosevelt silver dime. And so if someone sees in the future that the weight of these coins is going to matter, as well as the fact that they have silver, then the Mercury dimes may not be a good move. I have to say, though, from a practical standpoint, a worn dime is not going to make any difference, because people in barter and trade situations aren't going to be running around with a scale.
Right.
It's going to be a silver dime.
No, I agree with that. I actually like the dimes the most for barter because they're the smallest. But obviously you could go with quarters, $half. I mean, you got lots of options when it comes to junk silver.
Kind of the same comparison. You have Franklin $half and you have 1964 Kennedy $half. The 64 Kennedys were the only ones that were 90% silver. However, all the other Kennedys from 1971 on had no silver, looked exactly like this.
Yeah.
And so in a barter situation, a Franklin would be a safer bet perhaps for some, because they only came in silver.
Yeah, I think I like the Benjamin Franklins and the Walking Liberties too.
Walking Liberties even more so, but then with
those get really worn down though.
Very much so, and there's a lot of, truly slicks when you run into these.
They do look cool though, and the Eagle I think is fantastic.
And there's no question about the content, because they, again, were only silver.
So I've got a question for you. regarding collectability of these coins. I know some of the Mercury Dimes have crazy premiums because they are really collectible. Do you guys go through all of the coins that come in? Like, if I were to sell you $100 face value of Mercury Dimes, would you sit there and go through every single one looking for a collectible coin, or would you just throw them out in the tray?
I'm going to defer to Richard and Adrian on this because I'm the one that tends not to.
You don't go through them?
Well, mainly when we buy it, we say it's a tray like this, for example. We try and look for, of course, the 16D or the 21, which are two of the key dates in the series, or the most important ones in the series.
Might pick out like one that's uncirculated or about uncirculated if somebody were to bring a big amount. But at the beginning, when somebody were selling something like that, we would say, hey, is this stuff you got over the years? And then maybe we got to look through it a little bit more for them to catch that stuff before we get it so we could pay them more fairly. Or if they're like, no, I bought this from a bullion place, we'd probably just assume, oh, okay, it's already been looked over several times by different people, so it is just dimes. And then if somebody came in from like 100 face value from a bullion company, we'd probably just buy that and transfer it right to the tray.
You wouldn't go through it all?
Well, of course, if it comes like in an album and rolls and so on, we're careful with all the coins. We treat every coin like it's special, right? Mm-hmm. But when we get bulk bags like Richard was talking about, I mean, we would spend days going through every individual one.
Yeah.
So if we see that if it's a bullion bag, that's technically pretty much what we do. We go through it, we ask the person, hey, where did you come across these? What did you do with these? If it's more of like a collection that comes in like in albums or rolls, then I think we look a little more carefully, of course, to make sure that we don't miss any of those important dates.
So it's possible, though, that some could slip through the cracks. Someone could come in here. I mean, I could buy a handful of Mercury Dimes and find a rare one and actually make a little bit of money if I sold it.
It's possible, but I personally have an algorithm when I buy a collection that usually works. And here's the way it goes. If someone brings in a collection, they say, oh, this was my father's collection. And there's albums in there, that a Mercury Dime album, let's say, and it's been filled in as best as possible. And then there's maybe a tin can of more Mercury Dimes. My assumption is that collector who was trying to fill out the book looked for the rare dates to put in that book.
Yeah.
And the other dimes, the ones in the can that are extra, if you will, I assume he's already looked through them. Now, that's not a perfect way to go, but when we're buying large collections, it's a pretty handy algorithm to use to save time on going through sometimes thousands of dimes.
I will say, though, that there is a possibility, as slim as it may be. I always tell people looking through a bunch of really big haystacks for a needle, and the needle may not even be there. But I mean, there's like the 42/1, and that could possibly slip through and even make its way into a bullion bag that we never checked.
And that could be worth pretty good money?
Oh, hundreds.
Hundreds of dollars?
Yes.
Wow. Are there any other coins other than the Mercury Dimes that are super collectible? Like, is there a Washington quarter or a Benjamin Franklin or anything like that?
It would be the 32D, the 32S, mainly in the Washington series. And then on the Walkers, there's the 21 and then the 38D. It's about the most important ones.
So there's no collectible Benjamin Franklins or Kennedys or anything like that?
As far as Franklin's, not really. Kennedy's, no.
Okay. What about the Roosevelt Dimes?
No, it's a series that they made quite a bit of them, so it's not like there's a rare date.
So if people have the Washington Quarters, Mercury Dimes, and the Walking Liberties, they might find something collectible that could be worth a lot of money.
Yes.
What do we got here, Harry?
Well, I wanted to answer your question and continue that thought I had about my algorithm is not foolproof. We have a very excellent customer who's also my dentist, who, in going through our wheat cents, we sold him just thousands of these in bulk. He found an AU 1914D.
Really?
Yeah, because, we went through the books and decided that the extra pennies were not rare, and we missed one. And he also found two 31S's over time. So if you're patient at a coin shop and willing to go through bulk like this, you can find a treasure, for sure.
Especially since stuff gets misplaced. I've bought recently 25 31S's, and I was going through all of them, and I left the pennies behind, and Harry said, "Hey, you left some 31S's in the back." I was like, "Oh, that's right." And I scooped them all up, and there was 24 of them. So there's one floating around the shop, and it made its way.
Yeah, you never know, huh?
And that's the thing, is you can be as careful as you want, but these things happen. You know, it's like if a shop owner tells you, "Hey, no, these things, we catch every single one of them." I doubt it, because there's just so much action, so much stuff that goes on in a shop. It would be very difficult to catch every single one.
Yeah, I kind of like to think about buying junk silver sometimes as a treasure hunt, but I guess even wheat cents could be a treasure hunt, and maybe you could get a big score.
And you know what? We're genuinely happy for the customer when they've gone to the trouble to find it, and they find it in our stack. I mean, it's just fun.
Yeah.
And they're
Especially
thrilled.
When it's a kid,
As
remember?
a kid, they're just thrilled.
It was just awesome. I think it was a Washington quarter or
I
something.
think it was a 32S.
32S. And you should have seen it. I mean, it was like we gave the kid $1,000 or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Just him finding it in the...
Oh, yeah. And he's back here all the time.
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Looking through them?
Yeah. So it's like, maybe it might not be an accident. You know what I'm saying? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Slip one in there. Right
It's
on.
just makes the hobby great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was fun, actually, talking about junk silver, talking about some different things that we haven't really necessarily gone over before. It's really good information. If you want to know the key dates and the rare ones to look for in your junk silver, they're up on the screen now. So feel free to go through your own, or if you go to a coin shop, go through their junk silver and see if they've got one of these rare coins. This was a ton of fun. I love junk silver. I've got a pretty big collection myself. I've got a lot of the half dollars and a lot of the dimes. I don't have a lot of the quarters, but maybe sometime in the future, I'll have to pick up some quarters from you guys.
We've got plenty.
You guys certainly do.
Yep.
Well, hey, this was fun.
Thank you
Appreciate the
very much.
time. Harry, Richard.
Thank you.
Yep. Adrian. Brandon. Yep.
see you again.
Good to see you, Brandon. Take care.